Hello and welcome. This is a VOD. Well, not a VOD. I guess this is a Patreon cast, I should call it, of a replay sent here from HurtOne. This guy has given me quite a few, we will say interesting to stay polite, but he's given me a few interesting replays over time. Spawning here to the lower right side, we do have the red Zerg player. It's HurtOne. He's rocking that very rare Marine. To the top left, his opponent, Irabuni. Irabuni? I think Irabuni sounds funnier to say. It's going to be the blue Terran, Irabuni. Now, HurtOne, the very first replay he ever sent me, he just went mass probes in platinum level, I think it was, and won the game. I don't actually know what league or level this guy truly plays, because half of the time I cast him, it really feels like maybe he's smurfing and goofing around a little bit. And then the other time I cast him, I'm like, no, he's clearly bad and this is frustrating to watch. So it's kind of a mix and blend of will Rifkin be more frustrated or impressed with this replay. And in that regard, I look forward to the surprise of these Patreon casts that come from HurtOne specifically. But a little bit of an update for those who do, I guess, follow Patreon, or maybe you're somebody else who wanted the replay cast via Patreon. This is literally the last month. I'm currently casting this on June 24th. This is the last month I'll be offering replay reward casts because it's not that I hate doing these. I just don't have a lot of time, I find, to do things like this. And when I don't get to them, or they get late, or they fall behind in queue, I feel really guilty. And I know a lot of you who support on Patreon have been really awesome and forgiving, but I just can't live with that guilt. I'm a very... I don't know what the phrase is, but I'm a person who wants to make sure I do right by everybody. And even though you're okay with it, I'm not. So I will be changing the Patreon and tweaking it going forward. I may eventually one day bring replay casting back. We'll say that with a question mark for now. But if you want anything done via Patreon, you have until the end of June to submit something to the post that was posted there. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I guess. As far as what the Patreon will be for going forwards, I'm thinking about possibly tweaking it to be more tournament related, make it something more akin to that of an Alima League style Patreon. But I honestly, at the time of recording this cast, don't know what I'm doing yet. So I guess stay tuned for updates in that regard. The one thing I just wanted to make clear, though, was if you guys do continue to support it, regardless of the $1 tier or not, I really do appreciate it, because all that money is just kind of, it's icing on the cake to make events and content happen. It's really nice. But this Reaper out of Irabuni is going to hop up to the main base, and he should see this Roach attack coming. Even if he doesn't see the Roaches themselves, he should see the Roach Warren, and for every Terran player in the universe, this is the big, you know, unspoken build a bunker response rule. Even if he doesn't see those Roaches, the second you scout that Roach Warren this early, bunker needs to go up on the main base, or you're going to have a really bad time. Now, to be clear, for everybody watching, this is not... not the way to really do this, but at lower leagues, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. Another problem for HurtOne is if this is going to be Ravagers, his Overlord needs to start moving now. The biggest thing that will kill a Zerg player in this situation is lack of high ground vision. But the other thing that will kill a Terran player in this situation is lack of a bunker! You might think a siege tank is great to get out, but then the corrosive bios take it out in one blast. It feels really bad, man. But the Roaches start walking up to the top of the ramp. No tank has been started yet. Second CC on the high ground. Oh, am I casting Rifkin? Who does this? Second CC up on the high ground is going to ensure that it's not going to get force canceled or anything down below. So that's kind of a small win for Irabuni in this regard. Rather than peeling back the low health Roach, turning into a Ravager, he does... He's still making a Ravager nonetheless. HurtOne, I think a little bit supply blocked right now, feels a bit awkward, but once that supply is unblocked, he should be able to get in here and do a bit more. Bunker has only just been started, a little bit late, but looks like it will finish, albeit barely in the nick of time. So 4 Marines ready to go in, but the Ravagers and Roaches could just walk around this. Now the barracks on the right side getting canceled. That's not even going to get a chance to build. Now they start picking away at the command center. Kind of wish he'd pick away at the SCVs, but that's nitpicking on my part. As HurtOne's done quite a good amount of damage, I'd say, so far. Back at home, it wasn't a stellar macro game, but he does have some follow-up to this. Drones coming out, so those will be going down here, and hopefully get some mining going. Right now, Irabuni, though, has almost nothing. In fact, he has 0 mineral income. So for the time being, despite floating almost 900 minerals, he'll have nothing else joining that bank, not in the meantime. The tank actually comes out here. I like it. I like it being unsieged better than sieged. If it's sieged up like this, corrosive biles are a bigger problem, but HurtOne doesn't actually have a bunch of corrosive biles in this case. So, unfortunately, wasting time shooting the tank, realizing now it might be better to shoot the SCVs, although the entire time I'm just screaming internally, move into the dead zone of the tank so it can't shoot you at all! Excuse me. So, Arabuni ends up holding this, losing out significant mining time, though. Like, devastatingly bad mining time. I guess an SCV had been tried to be placed down here. The command center's also out of position slightly, so it's not mining efficiently, even once it does get to mining. But that tank, second tank comes out. He finally secures his position. And while I'd love to show you guys the income graph, due to the fact that I presume this is just from ladder, I don't have the game heart available to do this. But drones come down to the natural base, and like I said, he had already started trying to get his economy going and mining back at home. For HurtOne, he doesn't actually have to do a lot to maintain being ahead. Arabuni not only doesn't have a great economy, he doesn't have really great production, so there's not going to be a really big counterattack, and it really doesn't matter what league of the game you play at. You could play at Silver, you could play at Platinum, you could play at Grandmaster. The point is, a lot of the time after these attacks happen, oh fuck, that's a lot of mules, pardon me. After these attacks happen, there's usually a counterattack to retaliate. I think that even if you are not a good player and not confident in pulling it off, most of the time, your macro is not going to be good enough to carry you out of these situations anyways. Of course, I'm referring to the lower league people here. So it might just be better to YOLO across the field. I'm not saying pull all the boys. I'm not saying pull all the SCVs. But sitting at home with these tanks and marines is not getting him anywhere without something a little bit risky, like a third CC, to get back into the game. But this is, of course, me analyzing this from a standpoint of what would be normal. As we know, this is not normal. And funny enough, HurtOne has effectively given away his lead by investing in 2 spine crawlers and a spore crawler. I think one of the big things he should have noticed when he was across the field is that there was no starport. The second CC was the priority. The defenses were low. There's no mining. He didn't actually need this spore crawler by any means, lest he was afraid of a proxy, which was not happening. So HurtOne, you know, he gets ahead in the early game, but because of his static defense that he's invested into here, 2 spore crawlers even, excuse me, he's essentially given away that lead. I would honestly measure this game being slightly closer rather than far apart right now, but there's a tech difference that will need to be bridged. Right now, Arabuni's tech is actually non-existent. Because the tech labs and the reactors were picked off by HurtOne as the priority before breaking through the base, there's no stim on the way. There's no combat shields. There's nothing, frankly. And if he transitions into mech, because he did throw down an armory, it'd be a little bit slow. But he's also now throwing down an engineering base, so I really don't know what the plans of our Terran are. The point is, HurtOne not doing so great, but also not do terribly. He's actually, I didn't even realize, prioritized the burrow here for the infester. He'll send that little sharky guy across the map and try and get some damage done. Meanwhile, though, just producing a third CC, Arabuni's actually playing just fine, in my opinion. He's doing an okay job for recovery. I don't like the slower play at lower leagues, just in terms of the lack of confidence that their macro could make up for any mistakes made, but in this case, it's actually working out for Arabuni. But, as you all know, if you've watched any of HurtOne's replay casts in the past, this guy usually has a trick or two up his sleeve, and that's why I'm eyeballing these burrowed infestors. I'm not sure if this is going to be the subterranean assault squad that he wants it to be, but this, I think, will come in without detection. No missile turrets anywhere to be seen, so it should be noted you cannot cast fungal growth while burrowed. He will have to unburrow to cast that ability if he wants to grab a bunch of these SCVs. He can, however, throw out a bunch of infested Terrans if he'd like. But this defense in the main is awkward, and there's actually not that many SCVs here to start with, so anything he throws out won't be that threatening. Looks like there's going to be infested Terrans over here. Oh, I didn't even think about this. The infested Terrans are a great move at the natural base. The friendly fire from the tanks ends up helping kill some of the SCVs. These ones in the main base also getting some damage done. Infested Terrans pretty nasty, especially if they get the upgrade benefits, but it's worth noting HurtOne's going for melee this game, not range. So these infestors are just strange assault harass units that will not be easily removed from play. One more infested Terran, like right here, I think, is going to kill like 4 or 5 SCVs. There's so many SCVs that are on no health because of the siege tank. Trying to keep an eye on this before panning away. But with the mention of mech, we do have +1 weapons, some Vikings on the way. And I don't know how all of you who are watching feel about mech. I'm kind of jaded about this at lower levels. When I say lower levels, I really do mean diamond and below. I think that unless you are seriously masters or higher, a lot of the type of mech builds you should be playing, i.e. Cyclones and Hellions, are just, it's a lot of micromanagement that actually requires a lot of macro behind it. If you end up playing this style where you're like a little bit more turtley, you play a little bit more defensively, you actually can afford to play that on a slower speed, so to speak, but playing slow doesn't mean you're going to win the game. Playing slow just means you might be delaying your death. I've certainly played my fair share of TVZs where I have lost the game at the 15-minute mark, but didn't actually lose the game until 45 minutes later. I'm not saying that I am proud of this, but I'm just giving an example of why this slow play can sometimes not be too favorable, especially mech in general at this non-top tier level. Regardless, though, no fourth base coming down out of HurtOne. A lot more static defense has been invested in. He's really afraid of drops or something, despite the fact that there's been none to be seen. And oh my god, the rescue overlord he comes in, picks up the infestor. Hell yeah! All right, from sea to sky to underground, this infestor's got 41 health on it. Not a lot of kills. These guys in the main are still kind of lurking about. I really want this infestor to throw out a couple of infested Terrans. No, a parasite. Wait, back up. No. 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 It's neural parasite. That's fine. That's not what I'm knowing at. It's the fact that he did this before pathogen glands. That this man's went infestors without pathogen glands. Now look, I don't know what his plan is for this game, right? But if he plans to neural parasite a Thor or a tank, obviously that's great. There's a couple of choice ones like right here that are just prime for the picking. But part of me is also very afraid that HurtOne will do what I think he's going to do and perhaps try to grab an SCV. If you neural parasite a probe, it's fine, right? You just place down the Nexus and then it doesn't matter if you lose control of it or not. If you neural parasite an SCV and want to start a command center, you have to neural parasite that SCV like 8 times over. But hold on, maybe that won't be the case. The attack with Lings runs over. The infestor is revealed here by the scan. There's so many Zerglings, though. No Hellbats to deal with this. Tanks and Thors alike get destroyed. Waiting for these other infestors to start going ham on the neural parasites. Grab some friendly fire from that siege tank. Turn it into not so friendly fire with a neural parasite. Lings giving chase, though, are getting obliterated. Running into the bunker, perhaps not the greatest idea, but takes down another siege tank in the process. Still, though, these infestors are not doing anything, and we're going to swap to HurtOne's vision. Oh, you have just gone for infested Terrans. Okay, well, friendly fire kills the tank. I guess. You know, there's another part of this, too, that I don't know if this is being valued or not by HurtOne. But there's a lot of scans that are... Oh, my fucking god. Please tell me these timeout. If these... Okay, pause for 1 sec. Guys, if HurtOne finishes building 13 infestors before pathogen glands is done... Wait, I think this should time out. Hang on. 20 seconds. Yeah, pathogen glands should be done. I was going to say, if he built 13 infestors and didn't time it out with pathogen glands, I'm just going to quit the replay, like, straight up. But no, he should be fine. He should be okay in this regard. Oh, I didn't realize these infested Terrans had done so much damage in the backline, by the way. This Orbital Command Center is 100% going to die to these. Those rocket launchers they get are nasty. 14 damage a shot at a pretty fast rate of fire. Not bad there, HurtOne. Nice pick off on that 3rd CC. Imagine if it was 1 second early. I know, dude. That'd be so tilting. But, okay, so this has been pretty interesting in terms of what's been trading out for what. A lot of this has been done... Excuse me. Primarily through the infestors and the infested Terran. But those Lings had some really nice army trade outs, and if it wasn't for the SCVs, this wouldn't look as good. Continues to insist on infested Terrans, so you're seeing both corpses of SCVs and infested Terrans alike purge everything thanks to the friendly fire of those siege tanks. Okay, look, we're goofing around a little bit, and clearly he's doing a bit of a Mimi build, but I do want to note that these tactics are fairly sound. Consider each infestor has killed essentially 40 plus SCVs combined. Like for 4 infestors, 10 per infestor's not bad. But granted, it wasn't the infestor doing the damage, it was the friendly fire of the siege tank. He was utilizing that, but still, high five, well done. Now, there's a lot more of these boys that have been sharking around. Luckily, missile turrets have been placed down. There's a Raven in play too. Frankly, I don't even understand how these got past the Raven in the first place, but all right, the Infestitarians are going to kill another command center. I believe that'll be a kill, not a cancel if he focuses it. That is a kill, not a cancel. So that's one dead orbital, one dead command center. All thanks to these Infestitarian. Nicely executed so far, HurtOne. What's the long con here, though? He's got a Greater Spire, so possibly Broodlords on deck with the Corruptors coming out. That'd be a nice pairing with this. Just get a bunch of free units. Combination Infested Terrans and Broodlings. Make Rifkin Balance Wine. Do it, I dare you. Pro strats. Yeah, the drone count has been fairly low while this goes on. I'm kind of jaded about this, though, because here's the thing. The income, not great for HurtOne. The economy, not efficient for HurtOne. However, he has been making up for that by playing efficiently on the other side of the field. It's obviously better to have more workers. Let's not pretend like it isn't, right? But my logic on this one is, as long as your opponent isn't doing better than you are by large margins, then it doesn't matter that you're doing poorly at home. But Broodlords soon to be on deck. He kills 2 of the Liberators. That was a very nice catch. We have a full base being set up here. rather than this one. Leapfrogs to this one. Okay. Well, what few drones he had before, it's going to feel like he has even less now. But I guess, funny enough, that's kind of okay. The main base is mining out. The natural base will be shortly too. Lings continue to dart around the map. But I don't know if these Corruptors can really do anything here. How these Lings make it past 3 tanks in a bunker, I'll never know, but they did, and they get to the main base, and they're looking to shred a lot of SCVs. Prior to this attack, 40 workers had died this game. Caustic Spray kills the command center. That should not have happened. That's 3 CCs dead and 58 workers. Like I said, guys, HurtOne doesn't need an amazing economy if his opponent also doesn't have one. But the fact that the CC was not, like, I think the problem with this was it was in the middle of building. So for Air Booney, it may not have been intuitive to cancel that, to lift it, to move it. But that was awful because there was no repairs. The Infestors killed some of the Sky units too. Let's not forget about that poor Raven. Rest in peace. And, of course, the command center on top of this. Just icing on the cake. And while this goes on, of course, HurtOne, we had mentioned before, aiming for Broodlords. Oh, get out. Please tell me Air Booney sees this. He doesn't see it. He doesn't have vision of this. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is already a bad situation because he does not have a lot of anti-air. Although you might be Rifkin. He's got about 1,000 missile turrets. Okay, fine. He's got a lot of missile turrets, but he doesn't have the anti-air specifically required to deal with Broodlords. And with 3 of them spawning in the back of his base, this is like a Terran player battlecruiser teleporting. This is HurtOne getting revenge for every Zerg player out there who's ever been teleported on by a battlecruiser. Come here to the top left. You just start chipping away at things. And what can Air Booney do? He's only got Cyclones, Hellions and tanks, and I guess a couple of Thors. And technically, on paper, a Thor transformed could take on that Broodlord army. But oh, he neural parasites the Thors. The hit and run. He even grabs a tank and a Hellbat too, because why the hell not? Oh, these got some good damage done. Weakens up that army, stalls out some of the push. While this goes on, roaches, garbage roaches, they walk their way into the base, and there's only a bunker here to stop them. Broodlords in the main need to start moving in too. Although, funny enough, HurtOne has left himself open for a bit of a base trade, but that's where this base might just come in handy. He also, I guess I kind of forgot about this, he does have an abnormal amount of static defense at home too. These spine crawlers will not trade out well, but they will take out a couple of these Hellbats with them, maybe a tank or 2. Let's not forget every Zerg building is going to build those Broodlings, so that's a little bit of damage on top of that. And this army's already pretty weak. So, funny enough, there's a good chance HurtOne kills a lot of this army by the time it kills this base, just due to the fact that it will die to combination Broodlings and spine crawlers. Other side of the map, like I said, it's base race time, and these command centers are being picked off slowly. Drones that are being evacuated? No, those are overlords, because of course they are. Why would you save the drones? Who needs those? Am I right? Yuck, yuck, yuck. But yeah, Broodlings come out, they get on top of the tank. Friendly fires kill one of the tank. This is what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, it looks like a couple of Vikings were pushed out right before the starport died. We got a Liberator in the sky too, so HurtOne will eventually lose these Brood Lords. Operative word there being eventually, because you can see they are very slowly going down. Main base getting wrapped up here. Hellbats do get cleaned up, meaning these Lynx could hop on top of these siege tanks. Some of them already pretty badly injured. Oh my god, he's going to hold this. I'm so mad he's going to hold this off of losing the Hive and the Greater Spire. But these Thors even are pretty weak from that Neural Parasite play from earlier on. He's got these extra bases. Command Center's dead. There's only, well, this one's floating, I guess, almost dead, burning alive. What is this game? He's got Brood Lords and some Corruptors at home. HurtOne still has 18 drones in play, which isn't much, but then when you compare it to the 24 CVs of his opponent, actually isn't bad at all. Air Booney's also floating about 1,600 minerals right now, and I'm like, why haven't you made this an orbital yet? This is such a weird situation to be in. This is definitely, for me, this has got to be like HurtOne's game. He's got 44 army supply to the 14 of the Terran. The Terran player is not even really rebuilding any of his infrastructure. He's just trying to pump out a couple of Hellions here. I think it's safe to say HurtOne has this one in the bag. He would really have to become like the new best pitcher in baseball's history to throw this game away, because it's a done deal. Although he does start funneling roaches into the worst position I've ever seen to engage a siege tank, yet somehow still kills the siege tank. Okay then. I guess that's gonna be a wrap here. 2 SCVs remain, 1 and 2, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Thing 1 and Thing 2. GG's get called. HurtOne is gonna be victorious. Woo!